Good morning, everyone. Can it be? Can spring actually be in the air? Oh my goodness, the sun is shining, and I want to share with you a little bit about the long, cold winter and what we have to look forward to this spring. I've just been spending a lot of time picking things up, cleaning up, after having all that snow, and finding things that blew around, and I cannot wait till we can take the covers off the bushes, but the deer will still eat that, so we have to keep those bushes covered. Those bushes were extremely expensive when we bought them a couple years ago, and the deer would eat them down to the ground in the wintertime. I know I'm trying to rush on spring, but it has been a long, cold winter for me. I want to share a little bit with you my heart today, and then I'm going to work on planting some onions in the greenhouse. I planted spinach in January, and the seeds are starting to sprout, and I cannot believe it. I just never dreamed that they would sprout when it's so bitter cold. But in the greenhouse, they're sprouting. So this winter has been a very long one for me. And it has been a good winter though. It was a long, cold, record cold here for Pennsylvania. And it was one of those times in my life where I really tried to be content, because I don't like being cooped up in a house, and I do have a very small house. So our house is only about 1,000 square feet, and that's including the out porch. And of course, we can't be out in the out porch because there's no heat out there. So to be cooped up, but I found a lot of comfort this year in our wood stove, and I know I make a big deal about it, but if you had to live like I did for many years, not having proper heat, and it was just so cold, I just can't believe how beautiful this year has been for me to be able to sit at the fire. I shared with you in a video not too awful long ago about a vision that I had, and that was back in January, and how I felt like something has really lifted from my spirit, and how God is really moving mightily in my life. And so I wanted to share with you an update that God has just been really good. And sometimes in life we don't understand. We have a lot of questions, and I have so many questions, and I don't have the answers for them. But I do know through it all, I am learning to be content and learning to just be me. So 8, 9 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago, I decided to just not worry and let fear overtake my life. For many years, fear ruled my life. And what was I afraid of? Well, that's a really good question, because I was afraid of everything. I was afraid of bad weather. I was afraid of bad economy. I was afraid about if I was to get sick, what would I do for a living? How could I make ends meet? I was concerned about my husband and his health, and I was concerned about a lot of things. I was fearful about everything. I generally am not a fearful person, but through the years, as I got older, fear overtook my life. And of course, there was a lot of things that happened to me in the last couple years with the death of loved ones close by. My closest loved ones are all gone. And so I think that produced in me a fear. I had a fear of just about everything. I fear that people wouldn't like me. I fear that I wasn't doing things that people liked, and all of a sudden God lifted that fear from me, and I just ventured into a whole new world of just doing the things that I enjoy and not worry about things that I can't control. So in life, it's a lot about control. I wanted to control. I wanted everybody to be happy. I wanted everybody to be at peace. You know, everybody in my life. Even in the YouTube world, I just wanted everyone to just have everything perfect. And so in the course of the years, if somebody said they didn't like a kind of video that I didn't like that. I thought I wanted everyone to be happy. I was a people pleaser. Now that is something I was ever since I was a little girl. But then it got to the point where I was running around ragged trying to please everyone. And you know, it just doesn't work that way. And so I did a few videos just recently about how I desensitized myself a little bit. I still have a very tender heart, but I decided to just embark on letting God take control of everything. And so there was one particular day that I reached out to God in a way that I have not done in a very long time. And this was about 9 weeks ago or 10 weeks ago. I said, Lord, I'm giving it all to you. You are in control of everything. And the moment I did that, I felt a peace. I felt a lightness, and I felt a relief. I felt like a new person. And I am living that way each day. And so it has been a long, cold, dark winter. But there is light, and there's springtime, and that means spring, hope eternal. You know, spring is hope and renewal and starting over, and I'm really excited about all that. An awakening where I just want to show all of you my life and just show all of you that you're not alone, and that as we get older, we do go through a lot of different phases. You know, we always have these phases in life, and as we get older, we go through another phase in our life, and that phase is one where we kind of just like to do what we want to do. It's kind of the phase where we're not so sensitive anymore, and it's kind of the phase like, okay, well, I lived my life long enough now. Now I'm going to try to do some things that I really enjoy. You know, when we were mothers with small children, you know, it was all about our children, and, you know, it was all about these things, and it still is a lot about our children, but we're home now, and we are able to just focus on our life a little bit more, if you get what I mean. So my children are very close to me. They are my best friends, but you know, they have their life too. And so now I'm just I'm really excited about spring and being in the garden a lot. We will have a lot in the garden going on this year. And it's kind of going to go back. I'm kind of reliving my 80s. And my 80s moment was just being really financially set in a very small finances and funds, and learning how to just navigate my life in my own little home. And that's what it was back in the 80s when I was first married. You know, taking things that people didn't want or discarded and turning them into something so much fun. And that's kind of how I am. I'm kind of reverting back to what I was when I was younger. And it's interesting. And I think that in the Bible it says, train up a child in the way they should go, for when they get older, they won't depart from it. And it's somewhat like that. I'm kind of going back to my roots and just enjoying all of the things that I did when I was younger. So there you go. You know, maybe for some of you, you had a long, cold, hard winter. But for me, it was a lot of soul searching, a lot of reading, and a lot of really changing how I was doing things and changing just my perspective on what is success, my perspective on busyness is great, but if you become so busy that you are overwhelmed, you know, then it becomes something that is unwanted in your life. And just going through all of my cupboards and going through all of my closets and pulling out things that I forgot I had and using up things. Somebody asked me a question just recently. They said they're seeing me using my pantry food. Am I going to replace it? No, I'm not replacing those foods unless I can get them really, really cheap or I grow them. So I'm not replacing. So I am, but I'm not. So if I use up all of my sugar, I will replace it with 5 pounds of sugar or 10 pounds of sugar, and not 50 pounds of sugar. So while I am replacing it somewhat, I am not replacing it like I used to. So there you go, everyone. I know it's a little bit complicated if you haven't watched my other videos, but I'm living in the moment, in intentional living. I guess you could say that. And if you want to know what that means, is just Google intentional living. That's how I am. Intentional living and just using the things that I have. So my apothecary is getting smaller and smaller because I'm using up a lot of the things. I am donating quite a bit of some equipment that I had that I'm not going to really need, as far as big equipment for doing like massive canning and things like that. I'm donating that to the new thrift store. So I have a lot more chores to do today. I hope you continue to watch my videos. They are a lot longer than what you are accustomed to. So my videos used to be only 8 minutes long. Now they're anywhere from 10, 15 to 20 minutes long. I want to give you fuller content, and I think that a lot of you appreciate that, and I appreciate you watching it. So let's get finished with our chores. I always say the word chores. I should say projects. I'm not sure what word I should use. But chores is just a childlike word, but that's what I was always used to. So, Octaliva now, you know? I have to just get some of my Pennsylvania Dutch and use it, because I try to become more world-like in my talking, because for years people would complain that I was too Dutchy and Dutchified, and so I thought to be the successful YouTuber I had to talk proper English. Well, the thing happened was I did that, but it was so hard to do it. And now I just want to talk how I do. So if I say I want to eat some leavens, leavens are leftovers. Or if I want to talk about, you know, being shushlik or dooflik and stuff like that, you'll understand it, because it's me. I'm me. I want to be me, and that is my heritage, and I love it so much. And so you're just going to hear, you know, I'm just having fun. And I think now, since I took all of that heaviness off my heart, trying to be a perfectionist and trying to do this and trying to do that and trying to succeed, and I just feel like I'm a whole new person, because I'm just being me and trying to be me. That's it. I don't worry about so much of the other stuff. And it's been, wow, freeing. Oh, I'm so free.